Ahoy hoy, it's your boy Attack Slug, and it is time for yet another game ramble. I know it seems like whenever I do a game ramble, it seems to be bitching about EA or Microsoft these days, but look at the past 2 years, and that's just kind of who's been fucking up over and over. And you may say, hey, Attack Slug, what about Activision? I don't play any Activision games, that doesn't affect me whatsoever, so who cares? Anyway, today's video is about Dungeon Keeper. Specifically, Dungeon Keeper on mobile, iOS, and Android. Now, I realize I'm a little bit late on this story, and there are already a number of videos railing against this Dungeon Keeper and news articles and that kind of thing. But, nevertheless, I'm going to go over just a little bit and tell you why it's bullshit. So, this game seems to be just the amalgamation of every bad business decision that you can possibly make on the iOS and Android platforms. It is a free-to-play game that has aggressive in-app purchasing. It is in the vein of having to buy more energy to actually be able to derive any enjoyment of playing the game. That's fucked up. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here to hate on iOS and Android touch games. There are good iOS, Android touch games. Yearwalk was my top digital game of last year. Device 6 also super awesome. And even I'm not even here to hate on free-to-play. There is free-to-play done right, and it does exist. I'm not even here to hate on time management stuff where you have to keep coming back multiple times over the day as a free-to-play to get any enjoyment out of it. I was seriously addicted to Tiny Tower for quite some time. So believe me, that's not where the hate stems from. The hate is coming from Dungeon Keeper specifically, where you have a goal that you want to reach in the game, and you want to mine out something, and the wait time is like 9 days. And you're like, what the fuck? So let me back up a little bit. Dungeon Keeper and Dungeon Keeper 2 were PC games in the late 90s from a company called Bullfrog, who, like a lot of other PC game developers in the late 90s, got bought by EA, shut down, and now EA owns the intellectual properties of those companies. So, 2014, they're leveraging that in the mobile space, and here we have this Dungeon Keeper iOS. And normally, that wouldn't be a problem, but with the aggressive way that they have the in-app purchasing driving the game design is where everything just starts to fall apart. And there are other games on the App Store that have this thing where it just is going to bother you to spend real money on an app to speed up the time so you can actually get anything done and get any enjoyment out of the app, and that is bad for gaming and bad for gamers. And this one specifically hits home because it's not like Angry Birds, and it's not like Flappy Bird, and it's not like we're inventing an IP and then going onto the App Store and being popular and milking it. You are taking a known property from people who really enjoy video games from the late 90s and saying, hey, you've got nostalgia for that thing, here's this new thing. I know it's not quite what you wanted, but maybe you'll enjoy it. And it's the worst thing. They have made it the absolute worst thing. And that hurts because you know it has completely tarnished any possibility of getting any kind of a Dungeon Keeper game in the future. It's just not going to happen. So it's very telling right now that the top selling games on GOG.com, which used to be Good Old Games, and now is just GOG. The top selling games right now are Dungeon Keeper Gold and Dungeon Keeper 2. And if you want a good Dungeon Keeper experience, you want to know what that is, those are good games to pick up. However, at the end of the day, EA is still getting money from that. And personally, I haven't given EA any money since Burnout Paradise. And that was another example of EA buying a company that I really liked, which was Criterion Games, who made the Burnout series, and then more or less just killing off Criterion Games. And now EA owns the Burnout series, and we're not getting any more Burnout games. And Criterion is basically dead. So, fuck. But you may say, hey, Attack Slug, I just saw you playing Need for Speed on your video game show. That's an EA game. You're a hypocrite. And yes, you saw me playing an EA game on my video game show. Guess what? That's called GameFly. That only cost me the GameFly subscription. EA's not getting a dime from me. So that in and of itself, the way that the app is designed just to get more money from you is fucked. However, there is another component to it where the game is asking you to vote for it on the App Store. And you have two options. Vote 1 to 4 stars or vote 5 stars. And if you pick 1 to 4 stars, it doesn't actually take you to the App Store to vote on it. It takes you to a page saying, hey, you want to email us why you don't like this game? That is just ethically completely fucked. Now, if you hit 5 stars, it does take you to the voting page, and I'm sure once you're on that page, you could probably just vote 1 star. But I'm saying to you, don't even download this app. Don't even give them the luxury of having another count added to their download thing. This is not something you should ever support in any way. Even if it was just to see how bad it was, just don't do it. And on a more personal note, for me, as someone who has been putting out what is called nerd rap or video game rap for a number of years now, seeing someone like Dan Bull, who, make no mistake, hugely more talented than I am in that area, put out a Dungeon Keeper rap that is, if you download the game, you can get that rap, and it's obviously he got paid for all that stuff. And hey, not gonna knock any hustle. I'm never gonna knock any hustle. But personally, I would never do a song about a game that is not released yet. And I see it here and there within the nerdcore genre of people making pre-release stuff for games that aren't out yet, because they're excited. They have passion for the games, but you're always going to run that risk of the game not being any good, and then where are you? And for me, a lot of the game songs that I do aren't really about specific games. It's more kind of a conceptual thing about, achievements or about addiction or whatever else. But even when I would go to make a song about an individual game, it would be a game that I played countless hours in and I know is already amazing, and I have things to say about why it's awesome. I think that's part of your integrity when you're taking money to make a song about a game and you kind of have bare bones knowledge of what that game is. And I hate to knock anybody for, making some money, but that just leaves a sour taste in my mouth when I see something like that on YouTube and on the internet, and I'm just like, So I guess that's kind of all I wanted to go over in terms of Dungeon Keeper, iOS, and Android. The bottom line is don't download it. Don't give EA any more money. And it's not like EA is the worst. It's just they have so many beloved franchises that they just insist on driving into the ground and making really shitty business decisions with. It's not that the games are necessarily bad. This one was. But I would imagine without all the in-app purchasing, without all the time constraints, that it would probably be a reasonably decent Dungeon Keeper. And EA has made other games that, would have been reasonably decent games, but financial decisions on the back end hamstrung the development team, and the whole thing just fucking fell apart. So, this is Attack Slug, once again with a game ramble, and I will see you next time right here. Peace.